pressure. I am talking about matters of population pressure. There's a new concept that has been adopted in Uganda, and that is none other than the condominium. This time round on the Coffee Court, I host an expert in the field of the real estate, and that is none other than Shirley Kongai. She's the president of the real estate agents. We speak matters of condominium in Uganda. Where did it emanate from? What is it that is going to solve? And given the challenges that Ugandans are going through, what will this concept bring on board? Madam Shirley Kongai. Is this an African name? No. Oh, yes.
I don't know if it's an African name, but since I'm an African, it's an African name.
Thank you for joining us on the Coffee Court, where we ask the hard questions, but critical questions that matter. Condominium, what is this concept all about as the president of this association?
Condominium, we are moving away from the usual properties we have, where you have one single unit in one place for one family. But now we are looking at having several units in one place, probably vertical. It may not even be vertical, they may even be detached, but in one piece of land. And so we have the people who are living there having shared spaces, there are various utilities where they share, as opposed to the usual where we know properties owned by one person to the exclusion of all others. All the spaces are owned by one person, but now we are having several units in one place, owned by various people, but under one title.
Where have you picked this concept of condominium?
Well, will I say that it maybe we have borrowed from other jurisdictions, and we have, but well, it is a law that was, I think in the early 2000s. Yeah, it is a law that we have in Uganda, and so now various developers who have come in are trying to embrace it. It is something that is foreign, but we are now embracing it due to the fact that, remember, in Uganda land is not increasing, but the population is increasing. It's growing. And so if we are to be able to have enough accommodation for all of us, we have to be able to densify the spaces we have. Yeah, get a small space, but be able to accommodate a larger population. Yeah.
So you think condominium as a concept has come in to solve such matters that you just alluded to?
It solves many things. First of all, yeah, that is one of them, to densify. The other will be the prices should be able to come down, ideally. Other reasons would be it is better to live in a community than living alone, because of the situations now. I will speak for myself, for example. I would be uncomfortable to live alone in a single bungalow because of security and all that. Yeah, but if we are many, then even the security is assured, because usually there's security and there are various amenities that you'll be able to access, as opposed to what you would access when you are living alone in a bungalow. So it makes it a bit cheaper. Yeah, because look at the cost of land. Imagine you're buying half an acre. I'm just giving an example. If you bought it, say, at 200 million, and constructed a bungalow, yes, it would be, imagine all the 200 million that you've sunk in to purchase that property, and then you have to sink in maybe another 500 to construct a nice, good bungalow. But if you're constructing apartments, still, at that very cost of the 200 million that you bought that half an acre, you're going to construct, it will be, so the cost of land is swallowed there, but you will have various apartments, and you will have shared, maybe walls, shared foundations, shared things that will make it cheaper.
Okay. Do we have laws in Uganda that regulate condominium?
Yes, we have the Condominium Act.
And which are these anyway?
There's the Condominium Act.
What does it say?
The Condominium Act provides for how you can convert your normal land,
Okay.
eh, into condominium. How you can convert your units into condominium. The process of converting is regulated therein, and maybe even the building, how you're going to do it. Basically the whole process and management of the condominium, and if you want to convert it back to the normal land, it's all provided for.
Okay. But what extent has the public embraced the condominium concept in Uganda?
I think it is, if I'm to look at the residential unit properties that are coming up now, I think it is growing. It has grown, actually. Let me not say it is growing.
You think it is
No,
growing?
no, it is growing. I don't think, I know.
To what extent has it grown anyway?
To a greater extent, you go to these popular residential areas. Go to Nalia, go to Bulindo, Kira, Najera, Chiwatule, Kisasi, Zambia, all these places. Now everyone is constructing apartments, even Kololo. You rarely find, if you're looking for a house now, a bungalow, you will find an old one, mostly. The new ones are few, most of them are apartments.
Okay.
That's what I see.
Talk about the cost of this condominium concept. You think everybody can afford it?
Well, there are companies that are trying to come up with something somewhat affordable. Look at Universal Properties, look at Comfort Homes, look at Fakrudin. They are trying to come up with properties that are a bit, okay, I will not say they are cheap to the ordinary Ugandan, but they are fair. They are fair. Of course, there are other factors that affect the cost of properties in Uganda. Yeah? You will see, talk about the land. The land is very expensive at the moment. It is. And then the utilities that the people have to bring in. Remember, most places, they have to work on the roads. They have to fix the water. They have to fix the electricity. All that is left on the developer. The cost of capital is high. Look at the taxes in real estate. They are high. Yeah? So all those factors coming together, and remember also, we are unregulated, the real estate sector. So even the brokers, I mean, everything is high there. We don't have like a proper source of funding that is affordable for us, and the payment is period is limited, and so it is expensive. So it may not be as affordable as the ordinary Ugandans would want. The one who earns 1 million or less, 500,000 Uganda shillings per month.
So you are investing into a sector which is not affordable?
I said to the audience, but there are people who afford. There are people who can. But by the way, if you go to those apartments, they are selling. They are selling. People are buying. Yeah, they are selling. I see these upscale apartments, and sometimes I've always asked myself, but who buys this? But if you go and ask the developer, and if you go there to those apartments, they are selling like hot cake. They are selling. Yeah.
So talk to us about, most of these condominium concepts are built up in urban areas. Does that mean those in rural areas either can't afford or they are just green about the concept?
Okay, so I will say in rural areas, it is not yet, I think it's not yet the time to go condominium, because there's still a lot of space in the rural areas. Remember, everyone is moving from the rural areas to the urban centers to look for employment, yeah, to look for a source of income.
Okay. And
so the population in the urban areas is higher than the population in the rural areas. Look at the population in Kampala alone. Yeah, everyone is moving to Kampala. So the requirement for accommodation is very high. And that is why such construction tends to be concentrated around urban areas, because people move to urban areas in search for.
Okay. In your submission, you've talked about the taxes, which seem to be very high. What are these taxes that you are talking about?
One, there are the property rates. There's the rental income tax. I think that is the one that is disturbing everyone, because it keeps fluctuating every year.
Depending on amendments.
Depending on amendments, it's not static. Yeah, this year it is this way, next year they have changed, so it keeps rising. And then, okay, so there are property rates, there's rental income, there is income tax, there's stamp duty, there are so many. I think there are about 18 or something forms of taxes, like around real estate. And remember, at the moment recently, when we were trying to engage government, they were considering actually not to, like, a person who is carrying out a business of rental, yeah, when it comes to taxes, losses and all that would not be allowed like any other normal business.
That's according to which law?
That is I think was the previous amendment. Yeah. When it comes to rental income tax.
Okay.
Yes. So somehow there's a discrepancy there that makes it very expensive.
Okay. Then what about the property tax? I don't know anyway where you pay the property tax.
The property rates are really in the different municipal areas.
Depending on where.
Depending on where you are. If you're in Wakiso, then it is the Wakiso municipal, then KCCA within Kampala, and they have their own different rates. They have their ways of assessment. You know, they're arbitrary to an extent. They just assume. Sometimes maybe you don't even have tenants. They are actually developers who have developed properties, and maybe the properties have not been occupied, and they're incurring costs, security, maintenance, maybe electricity, water, and all that, and maybe half of it is occupied, okay, or even less than half is occupied. But of course, you have to maintain the entire property. Yeah, you're incurring losses, but still, the taxes, the property rates, the estimation is the same, and you're not allowed to deduct those losses.
So if I want to invest in condominium as a business to be specific, what is it that I must have at the back of my conscious mind?
One, let me first say that I hope everyone understands that condominium means each unit is independent.
Okay.
Yeah? Each unit is independent, each unit has its own title. So when you invest in a condominium, you're going to sell each unit, but there are those spaces which sit on one title, the mother title. Yeah? And those ones cannot be sold. And when you have sold all the units, the owners, the new owners, have to come up and form their own management. Yes? They will form a corporation.
Okay.
Yeah? And they will manage and maintain that property by themselves. And so you, after selling, you step out. It is no longer yours, you're no longer managing, the owners are managing it by themselves.
Who are these owners you're talking about? Are they the owners of the land, or who are these anyway?
The owners of the unit. So as if I have a condominium of 6 units, for example, maybe 3 floors of two units, yes? And I sell all of them. If I sell them, difference between selling and renting.
Okay.
If I sell them and I have sold all the 6, yes, I step out of it.
So who takes over now?
These 6 owners form a corporation and they manage their own affairs. There have been incidents of developers who develop and they still want to remain in the management. But once you have sold everything, you step out and leave the owners to manage their own affairs.
So with all the land wrangle issues and matters of the Landlord and Tenants Act, which is now a law, so once we have issues with land and many other things, so where do I run to anyway as a tenant in this case?
So there's a difference between selling and renting. If you build the condominiums for selling and you sell all of them, then you cease to be part of the management. But if you're renting them out, then the Landlord and Tenant Act applies. Yeah, so you will be still in charge, you'll still be in control, management, cleaning, maintenance, all that will be under you, depending on what the tenancy agreement provides for. I would encourage that, like it says now, the Landlord and Tenant Act says properties, any property where rent is above 500,000 should be in writing. We encourage you deal with a lawyer who drafts for you nicely and includes all the terms that you would want to be covered in the tenancy. And if everything is clear, there shouldn't be an issue. But there's always an issue when it is not clear.
Okay. But do you think this law is in your favor or it is in the favor of us who are renting? The landlord and tenant.
It's a fair law. I think it is fair.
Where is the fairness?
Okay. The fairness is that the parties are encouraged to put their agreement in writing. That is the fairness. Because if my interests are in writing and yours are in writing, you're the landlord, I'm the tenant, then we are protected. I don't want this, let's put it in writing. You don't want that, let's put it in writing. And then it also allows us to agree on certain things. Yeah? For example, we can agree that I pay you in Uganda shillings or dollars. We can agree that the tenancy is for 5 years or for 1 year.
So it's a fair law, in your opinion.
It's fair.
Okay. Getting what I'm picking from you, this seems to be a concept that Ugandans have really not understood, given the assertions you're putting on board. The condominium, it seems it is a concept that Ugandans have really not understood.
So we Ugandans, we like to live in our own spaces.
Okay.
Traditionally. I like to be in my own space. I don't want to share. We are not used to living with others. We like to live on our own. I mean, back from the village, from the traditional lifestyle, that is how we prefer it. But at the moment, with the trends changing and the population and the fact that the land is limited and it's expensive, when you, actually these days when you buy land, someone will always tell you, that land, put in apartments. Haven't you heard people say that?
I have.
Yeah,
I have.
don't put a bungalow. Put apartments, at least sleep down and let someone rent up. Why? Because land has become expensive. If I think of buying a piece here, put a bungalow, go and buy another piece, put a bungalow, why can't I just utilize this one piece and go up and cut down the price? So people are now starting to think that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what does condominium bring on board other than solving matters of the population pressure and many of those? What is it that it brings on board, especially on the sector of the housing in Uganda?
We are able to, you said that other than densifying.
Of course, other than solving matters of the population pressure, what is it that it brings on board?
Organized living. That's what I am saying.
Okay.
Security. I am seeing affordability. To an extent. To an extent.
Okay.
Yeah, because, like I said, if I were to buy a piece of land and put a bungalow and a bungalow, 200 million, 200 million, 400 million. But if I put two flats, two floors in this one piece of land, I have saved.
Your recommendation, finally?
My recommendation, I think looking at where we are going now, looking at the lifestyle, and the fact that everyone is moving to urban centers and the population is increasing, urbanization is also increasing at a high rate. I think condominium is the way to go now, other than bungalows.
Thank you for speaking to us. Madam Shalin Kongai, the president of the real estate agents. Of course, that is it from the Coffee Court of today. We've been digesting matters of condominium. My name is Fred Makuvia, and this is Smart 24 TV.